Hello everyone, my name is Slicker and I stayed up late again because my brain wouldn't shut up. So I made this little image board of of what fractions and reference points I've got visually that can be used for piecing the plot together visually. Because yeah, no, there's lore. There's lore for my fictional self. Ah. And it involves some interesting ideas. If you want to hear those, you'll want to check the description for the recording where I started getting all of this set up and everything below. Sure, there's a few moments missing between, but that's kinda normal when you have to step away and get something done. Fucking, I know my brain's working overtime to fucking get rid of the chemical bonds of memory and whatnot. But do I really need to go to the bathroom that often? In any case, confusing tangent aside, it's clear that I cannot be a part of that dense stork's life. And this fictional story is part of how I process things. So the question is, how do you leave freedom for choice when both people are stuck by the other person not moving on or growing up? How do you leave freedom for communication and eventual reconnection as people? Doesn't even have to be as anything other than friends, but something I worry about. Because I don't think this attachment of mine is going to go away. Not unless I manage to fucking figure out how to present this story properly and thoroughly. Oh, there's a lot of ideas there. Up in the top left, we've got a wandering immortal from who knows where, who knows what universe, or even multiverse, and a young god that is not exactly sure of what they're doing, but they're trying. Those two have a bond of their own over time, only Mr. the Wandering Immortal ends up unable to say goodbye one last time and let the friend know of their research updates. In their friend's place, and at the center of where their friend used to be, is a complete and utter fucking unkillable monster that reminds them of their friend for some reason. And unfortunately, it has none of the memories or cognitive abilities of their friend, and it's wreaking havoc on the young god's world. So time and time and time again, they have to seal it away. Long story short, that was the technical birth of my fictional self by an unintended ritual, and eventually my fictional self, over like who knows how long, gains consciousness and awareness and tries to just live as a person. But of course, there's this little fucker in the background who's preying upon the red ones' fears and security and whatnot, and trying to just have me eradicated over and over and over again. Which leads to that scheming motherfucker forming their own little subgroup that keeps hunting my fictional self down. From there, my fictional self eventually confronts this one and begin uneasy truce for a while. Then my fictional self runs into, I guess, the fictional idealization of the dense stork. Tries to hide who she is, because all this person's ever heard about the disaster creature is how it's evil and whatnot, and it's a lot of just this scheming motherfuckers whispering in the air. So yeah, that's the color scheme of scheming motherfucker, and that's the color scheme of the actual red dude up here, who ends up passing on their position, powers, and whatnot over to this manifestation, or fictional idealization of the dense stork, and leaves them in charge. Eventually, now that happens like after the breaking point, where there's a fight and my fictional self has to admit that they're the very thing that the other person was scared of. Not in the sense of actually being what the rumors and everything and the paranoid whisperings of this motherfucker have said, but more so in being the one that those rumors are all about. Complete fucking chaos happens. My fictional self gets erased from existence and the entire timeline, leaving only the scheming motherfucker who's kind of going to be a representation of generational trauma, paranoia, and the worst traits of both people taken to unhealthy extremes. And I don't know what their side of the story is going to look like. I really don't. But I know I can at least fill in my perspective on that whole fictional thing. And in this image board, idea board, you've even got little hints as to like previous design drafts or ideas. But that's... Oh yeah, also my fictional self can actually have her hair be a normal color. Oh. And me drawing my delusions and all that was a visualization of me facing off against the scheming motherfucker over here, who I haven't given a design to yet, that manages to manipulate, corner, and be coercive as fuck towards this fictional version of the person I liked. Yeah, that's about the quickest summary of the story I can give. I still exist after being wiped from existence. I'm just stuck in the unknown between, living a limbo state that isn't exactly comfortable, but it's better than nothing. And I'm trying my best to find my own way forward. That's really all the themes of my fictional self in this regard, in this connection between myself and another person. Hope you all enjoyed, and if you've got any ideas on how to solve that problem of both leaving communication potential open without necessarily having to completely and utterly move on. Because on one hand, I don't want to be fucking taken for granted. And I'm not about to just stay here in this awkward emotional space. On the other hand, I still worry about what's going to happen for the other person when I do move on. Because either I'm projecting or I'm right. But regardless of which, I still want to respect them as a person and leave them with it reasonable choices available instead of asking them for unreasonable ones. Because all my desires, hopes, and whatnot, for as much as I would love that, I don't see the other person as emotionally mature in that regard. See them as emotionally naive in that regard. And experienced with, like, the rougher side of reality. Meanwhile, I'm inexperienced with the more civil side of reality. Not by much, but hey, dynamic contrast. Kind of the whole point of dynamic support as one of the illusions conjured. Whatever. Whatever.